And the biggest loser of the 21st century is the UK? Wait, I'm from the UK. Am I a loser? Yeah. The EU chief has mocked the UK, calling them the biggest loser of the 21st century. She also said that Brussels will dominate in the next decade. Do you agree with her comments?
Yeah, I think everything is changing now in the European Union since Brexit, and it's changing from a union to a comedy show. I think this is craziness 101, and how you can call another important member the loser of the 21st century. If anyone is the loser of this century, you should actually call the euro as one of the most probably interesting in paper but pathetic execution of a loser. And everyone thought that the whole idea of the euro will be a winner, but then you have all the struggles along the way. So first off, you have to consider very, very tricky statement for coming from actually Federica Mogherini, which is actually the EU Foreign Affairs chief. And in this time of uncertainty and tension, I think we should all agree that those words, they are not really the best choice to try to, settle this in the negotiation with the UK.
The UK has now threatened to quit Brexit talks if the divorce bill remains so high. How can they negotiate a better deal for leaving?
Now, this is something to consider, and there's not really a path to embrace really these negotiations and trying to look for, okay, think about this, if we're at a poker table and sort of Texas Hold'em, and we're playing with these different, who's trying to beat everyone, and everyone's bluffing about the situation. Because keep in mind, this whole thing of the Brexit Bill, Brussels calling 100 billion, or the other saying, the Financial Times thinking is way above that, or some other people thinking in London it probably only be 5 billion, which is a very ridiculous statement to think it would be such a low number. I think probably Theresa May was saying that previous payments should be considered part of the exit bill, which is another sort of ridiculous statement at the same time, because you cannot really consider previous payments a part of your exit. Again, we discussed this before, Kai. It's like pretty much in a divorce. It's like the woman saying to the husband, okay, because you gave me alimony or you gave me support for the last year, suddenly that will be discounted off the last check that you have to give me. No, it doesn't work like that. One thing, though, that we may consider is, and actually two things to consider, it's like the intense campaign that PM May has been pushing into creating this sort of tax in the UK for companies hiring foreigners. That can be one thing that she can downplay, stop talking about it. And the second is the whole concept of the EU, the free movement. And one of the main concerns through the negotiations is to make sure that EU members in the UK will be respected as far as their rights. If she can come to, if the UK can come down to remove those from their whole campaign, settle down the whole immigration wording, probably the EU will be more mellow, if you want to use a word or something here, just to say, okay, if you guys want to cooperate with us, we will think about it. But until that happens, there's not much to do in these negotiations.
German press reports that Merkel is pushing for Weidemann to replace Draghi at the ECB at the end of his term. Who else would be ideal for this position, and what would they do differently?
Well, here's another one of those scenarios where it doesn't matter who you put in that seat, it just won't work. I mean, you can sit down a monkey to direct the European Central Bank, it won't matter. It's not about names in here. It's just about, I want the audience to think this. The current situation that central banks are facing, it's very bizarre. They are against, I want you to picture this in a four-quadrant game. On the upper quadrant, left hand, you have low growth. To the right, you have high employment. You have high unemployment. Bottom, you have migration, excessive migration, a wave of migration from Middle East and North Africa. And then finally, on the corner, right hand, bottom, you have Brexit and Donald Trump. It's a difficult scenario that it doesn't matter who is in charge. No one can really do much. And one of the things that now Europeans, the ECB is fighting, it's some sort of massive violence from Trump, because the euro was counting with the fact that it was trading below 115. Now we are just already trading at 112, and that's creating some pressure. Mario Draghi, believe it or not, was quite smart, downplaying the euro so many times, and he did not proceed this way because he wanted to. He just found one way to make it survive for the time being, and that was really having it 110. And he was really successful with that. Talking about names, it doesn't matter. The euro about 115, or actually going back to organic fair value, which can easily be between 120 and 125, will put some pressure in the already anemic growth in the eurozone.
Well, thank you, Jose Ricaurte Jaén, for speaking with us from Guardian Trust FX, and thank you at home for clicking back.